Welcome to another week of Project Grownup. This is a weekly podcast about conquering the phenomenon known as adulthood through hard work, discussion, and most importantly, a lot of laughs. We hope you'll be part of this project with us. I'm Alex, here with my co-host Danielle.
Hey, everyone.
And Amy.
Hey, girl, hey.
So this week on Project Grownup, we are interviewing GeNella, a.k.a. Miss Pooh. GeNella is a grown-up on the rise, starting out as a radio personality. GeNella is now growing as a successful ScrumMaster / tech genius. GeNella also seems to be a social butterfly, acting as both a co-host on the Missbehavin Forreal Podcast and also running her own YouTube channel with a lot of followers. If all of this isn't enough, somehow she still finds time to work on her other side hustle, Missbehavin Beauty, which provides hair, makeup, and waxing for rebellious women with healing in mind. GeNella, welcome to the show.
Oh my God. First of all, you just I want to tear. That was so perfect. Hi.
We're so excited to have you on.
Thank you so much. That was like a very beautiful intro. And like when I've been asked to like write bios and stuff about myself, like I really need to just clip whatever you just said. And because I'm really bad at writing bios for myself.
It's always hard to like talk about yourself, but
it really is. Yes, it really is.
You know what's the worst? Getting the question, or not even really a question. It's like, so tell me about yourself. It's like, well,
right.
What do you want to know?
Especially when you're like dating, like, or a guy asks you that, and it's like, I don't know.
Right?
Where should I start?
Right.
So I guess we'll start with you. We're going to be asking you a lot of questions about yourself, but we know you started as a radio host in St. Louis. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then you transitioned recently into tech. So I'm kind of curious how you started in radio, how you made this transition. I've seen some of your YouTube videos. I think this is important to mention because, you know, part of our podcast is, you know, figuring out what the heck we're doing here. And a lot of us are considering, a lot of us personally and out there, our listeners are considering, you know, career changes. So that's where I want to start with you.
Yeah. And congrats to you ladies for even like acknowledging that it is hard to like transition into being an adult. That's like something that people, I don't think, take the time out to realize, like, it's okay to not know what's going on. So shouts out to you. And that's kind of like what my podcast is about too, Missbehavin Pod. And I'm sure we'll get into that later. But I got into radio just being me, honestly. Like, my family used to always want me to be an actress. They used to always say I impersonate people all the time. I was just like super goofy, and I went to school for like deaf communications at first, or in art education. Like I just didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I was artsy fartsy. I started off with like graphic design, and then I was able to like express my art through like hair and makeup. So a lot of that was like my early high school side hustle. Like, oh, GeNella's the one that we can go to like get our face done when makeup wasn't really like a thing, you know what I mean? Or even hair, like hair wasn't even really like popping back then. But I was like the artsy fartsy girl that everybody kind of wanted to get their stuff done by. And I always knew I just really wanted to do something with art. And so I enrolled for art education. And that just, for some reason, like not that type of art. I don't know. It just did not work out. And my dad, one day we were in the kitchen. He was like, you know what you should do? You should do radio. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Like, I'm good at stuff like that. So I switched my major to mass communications, ended up loving every single one of my classes. Like, oh my God, I loved all my teachers. I loved all my classes. It was effortless. And so I did college radio for like, I guess, maybe like a year or two. And my best friend at the time, she was in mass communications too. And she was more so for focusing on like journalism because she was good at writing. As we were coming out of college, she actually had a job at the radio station. And so also in college, we were set up with like a class where we had to like do a big presentation in front of all these like big wigs, and somebody from the radio station was there. And so in this whole mist of like time, I was doing a presentation for somebody, and like my friend was at the radio station. So I was able to somehow get in front of the manager, and I did like a pitch, and he was mentoring me for like maybe the last 4 or 5 months of me being in college. And then he ended up hiring me as a board operator. And so a board operator, you are not on air. You were just clicking buttons and stuff, doing the background work.
But you stuck with it.
Yeah, I was in the building. And honestly, he turned me into an on-air personality like 2 months in. And I didn't start as an intern. Like I was a board operator, and a lot of people do start as interns, and it's hard to make your way to on air. And that's how I just knew I was destined for it. And I never tried hard. I was just a natural. And that's why radio, I feel like, was something that I was good at, not necessarily something that I super duper loved for me to like stick around in it. Because as the years went on, like, you know, I was growing up, I was being an adult, and I needed more money. And like radio is a hustle type industry. Like if you are not in New York or California or like doing super like prime time hours with a lot of endorsements, it is hard to get some good money. You have to have a side hustle. You have to like do some stuff on the side. So that's where I was, you know, still doing hair and makeup. I was working in the mall, doing at Sephora, you know, still fulfilling my artsy side. But like I was really at a point when I got to about 26, 27, where I was like, okay, I don't like this no more. It's fun. It's cool. Everybody loves me doing this, but I have to do something for me. I have to do, you know, I'm ready to work smarter and not harder. And so that's when I started to dive deep into technology and like what other job options were out there. And so, yeah, I'm here and I love it. And it was a journey, but you know, it's all about saying what you want to do and just going for it.
Just hearing your voice, I could tell you're definitely a natural for radio. So I'm sure.
Oh my God, people say that all the time. I'm like, what do you hear? I can't hear it. Like, hello.
It's sweet and smooth. I like it.
So, GeNella, I'm actually a reporter in Buffalo for a TV station. So I'm an MMJ. Yeah. So and I'm only 25, so I can totally relate to everything you're saying. Because some days I'm like, is it worth it doing it long term? You know, when you want a family and like you don't know. But I'm curious to know, do you ever miss those days when you were on the radio? Because sometimes I wonder like if I can really see myself doing anything else.
And you know what? That was the hardest part for me while I was in radio. It was that feeling of like, oh my God, am I going to miss it? Is everybody going to be disappointed in me? Are my people who listen to me and see me all the time, are they going to look at me the same? Like during this time as well, I was going through my spiritual journey as well. So just becoming more enlightened to like what was right, what was wrong, like how to just like free yourself from people's opinions and just like living how you want to live, like, and how all of the outside factors don't matter. Like I was kind of going through that too. And so radio and the entertainment business and what that means to people did not resonate with me anymore. I was just like, looking into other people's lives is not like fulfilling, you know, like, or looking at other people's downfall is not fulfilling. And like wanting to be famous is not fulfilling to me. It's just like, okay, cool, but can I pay my bills? Can I like actually buy a healthy meal? Or like, am I only able to afford, oh, I was about to curse. Am I only able to afford a freaking dollar menu sandwich? Like, you know what I mean? So I had to really spiritually feel that and come to a point where I was like, you know what? I got to do this for me. And it was times where I was like getting into little spats with my mom because she was proud of me. You know, she loved me being in that position. Like my family was like, this is you. Like, you know, and I was just like, I can't even move out of your house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even get to a point where I can be a free bird because that's where I was in my life. I wanted to be free. So to answer your question, I don't miss it because it was a spiritual thing. I'm fulfilled now and I'm making way more money and I'm in a place where I can do all the things that I want to do, to the point where I just know that if I was still in that position, I would be restricted. I just know that I would be doing it for the wrong reasons. So it's definitely something you have to like really grow into, and you'll feel it when you start feeling restricted and you're like, okay, I got to get out of here. Because my friend who I was talking about that was at the radio station, she ended up becoming an MMJ. So she's at a news station now. She's not at the radio station anymore. And now she's, you know, my age, 28, 29. and she's feeling that restriction, and she's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make this move without disappointing people, without feeling like I'm not gonna be great. And it's like, dude, you could be great in other fields. You don't, like, being great has nothing to do with being famous, you know what I mean? Or has nothing to do with like just like being known for your work. Like, that was just the point where I came to. I was like, I don't care. Like, my followers will follow me. People who love me will still love me, and that's it. I'm gonna wait.
I wonder if more people are just feeling that this year, especially too.
Yeah, they have a lot of time to like sit back and reflect.
So I think I did see on your social media that you did you lose your radio job because of COVID?
So yes, I did. I started my tech journey in early 2019. That's when I really was like, okay, what other jobs are out there? What are the highest paying jobs right now? Like, I was on a mission, and I was able to enroll into a boot camp where I learned some programming and some coding, and I was like, ooh, coding is not it. And I was on that journey up until it's 2021 now, up until early 2020 when COVID hit. And I was already like literally neck and neck with like literally looking for a job. Like, I was at the radio station looking for a job all day, every day in my last days. And if you looked at my YouTube, I posted a video of me at Amazon. That was my last day at work. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, well, I can start at Amazon. Because not only do I need extra money, but maybe I can make this a journey through the company and maybe possibly work for them like on the IT side at some point. So I like had a plan. I was looking for jobs that would eventually lead me into IT, but there were cool companies like Amazon, Apple. Like, I was looking to work at any job on like a retail level. That was my last day at work. And I had no idea like, what was going to happen. And like 2 weeks later, I was laid off. I didn't even go to Amazon because COVID was wild at that point. And I was like, I am not going into work. Like, I am staying at home. Okay. I am not going into work. Literally, my program that I was in, I got an email. And this is in the same like 2-3 weeks. I got an email about a job and I filled out for it. And like 2 weeks later, I got it. Like, I can't make this up.
That's amazing. That's just like the stars aligning there.
Oh my God. But I did a lot of work. Like,
you gotta put the work in, yeah.
Yes, I did a lot of work. Like, I'm proud of myself. And I have to reflect on it and say like, okay, like, no girl, you really was working to get out of there.
Hard work and hustling. You kind of mentioned how when you're in the entertainment industry, it's essential to have a second job. And even with a couple side hustles, you're still not making that money that you really needed to take care of everything and live comfortably. Right. So now that you have just one job accounting for your full income, was all that extra like time and hard work that you put into it worth it in the end?
I will say, yeah, because a lot of the soft skills that I learned in those jobs are definitely what are helping me with my job now. Like working with teams, being organized, communication, stuff like that. My job that I'm in like literally is the IT version of radio. Like, that's like in my head how I think about it, because I am literally being a coach / like host / like mentor, facilitator type of person. And my radio job really helped me be more fun and bubbly and be creative with my approach when I'm talking to people. And so my teams at work appreciate how like fun I am and how like I make the serious stuff more cool, It was definitely worth it. Absolutely. And trust me, I never did a job I didn't want to do. So let's be clear. Every job that I did, it may have been like $10 an hour, $12 an hour, but it was me doing some makeup. It was me doing something that I liked already.
I think you had a great point about like the soft skills that you took from your other jobs and activities and applied it now. I have kind of a similar story to you. I worked in sales, which was not where I wanted to be. It was tech sales, but still, not a salesperson. And I was like,
Yeah.
I couldn't get out of the sales field. Every job, every recruiter's like sales, sales, sales. I was like, no, no, no. So I went back to a boot camp for coding as well. And it allowed another door to open into project management for a tech company now. So that's what I do now.
Oh, snaps. Hey, girl.
Yeah. And I saw that you're a Scrum Master now. I have my Scrum Master certification. I'm not technically a Scrum Master as my position though, but I was wondering if you could tell people, like what a Scrum Master is exactly that aren't, people that don't work in tech.
I haven't mastered that yet. No pun intended. I have not mastered how to break it down in like elementary terms. I literally Google it like once a week just to kind of try to get familiar with some words that I can say that will help me say what it is, because I don't know, like how would you say, what would you say that it is?
I think you definitely mentioned some great terms like facilitator, coach.
Yeah.
It is kind of like project management, but you're not like bossing people around. You more are like a coach, hyping people up. And
Right.
I do think you have a great personality for tech too, because like, I'm going to be real, tech can be really dry in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So having someone with like a great personality.
Colorful. Mm-hmm. Now that like the gates are open to everybody and everybody's more aware that everything that we touch is literally tech, So I do think that it is becoming more colorful, and that's kind of how I even, got in the position, because they're wanting more people, more women, more Black women, minorities in general to like get into these spaces. And I think they realize that a lot of the products just don't function right. I think these companies are tired of being put on the forefront when something doesn't work for a certain type of person, or like their campaign doesn't look all the way right, Like I think they're tired of that, and I think they're ready to start expanding. And then a lot of these old CEOs are like, Lord forgive me, but they're dying, okay? Like they have to go lay down, okay? And so the new millennials, the younger generations rather, they may not even be millennials, but they are getting into these seats. Things are becoming more what they should have been from the jump. I have no idea how to say it. I'm a coach. I can say this. I coach teams of developers on the day-to-day, and it could be non-technical or technical coaching.
I approve. That's good.
I'm like, I still don't know if that said it, but yeah.
That's it. I think so.
You kind of brought it up already, but what can we do as a society and tech industry to get more women and people of color involved in tech?
We can do what we're doing. Like you guys are podcasting. I'm podcasting. I've got a YouTube. I feel like I'm finally fulfilling my niche, and I feel like what I'm doing is purposeful, and it's very strange. It's like what I was doing in radio is less purposeful than what I'm doing now. And you would think that being a radio personality, like I am giving, I am hosting, I am teaching, but I'm doing way more of that than I was in radio, because it was a lot more secluded to entertainment and like stuff, like I said, that I didn't care about. And now I'm able to share my testimony, share my journey, and I get way more people reaching out to me about my story. I mean, even you guys, like even giving me the platform to talk about it. Like this is more purposeful and sharing the journey. I think that we are doing a good job. I definitely think it's up to the people that are in these positions, because the companies are doing what they can. They're supplying the product. They can't supply products, supply jobs, and teach people at the same time, so I think it's up to the people that are in those positions to give the details, give the journey, show us, tell us through all mediums. I think that's the only way, because outside of that, people are just going to continue to think that IT is just for white men, and it's not.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the most important parts, is just bringing awareness that it is a possibility. Like, that's amazing to me that you went from radio and now you're making all this money with tech. Like, to me, I've never done anything with tech. I need to learn something about tech. I've been trying to figure out what a Scrum Master is all weekend, and I still got nothing. So you make it seem possible, and I think that's an important view to bring to the world.
Good. I'm glad I do, because I'm trying to tell people that although I did acquire some technical skills, like I do know a little bit of code. I wanted to be a UX designer. I was like on a path to be a UX designer before I even got the Scrum Master position. So I do encourage people to get tech skills, but most likely, whatever you're doing, there is something in IT that you can do, because there are tons of non-technical roles in IT.
Absolutely. And working in tech is such a solid industry to work, and COVID's kind of proving that. But, many people have lost their jobs because of COVID now and are considering going back to school. You made a YouTube video talking about why millennials should go back to school. Can you tell us a bit more of like the considerations you took? I know you said you made like a list of things to take into account, but did you feel like it was worth it to go back to school and kind of carry the money that's involved and all this kind of stuff?
Yes. So oh my God, like, first of all, if you go to school, I think that you should go back to school at a later age. So I would say 25 or older. I think that you should live your life and try to acquire skills through free programs first before you step foot in a college. I was able to get an associate's degree for free off of a Pell Grant. So if you are someone that falls into that category of being able to receive a Pell Grant, I would highly encourage you to do that, where you can get at least an associate's degree for free. So if you have scholarships, grants, anything like that that's going to take you through school, absolutely do school. If you do not, free programs, free coding camp. There are nursing programs that will probably teach you stuff for free. I have not gotten my bachelor's just yet. When I dropped that video, I was going to go back to school while I was doing, or after I finished my first program, because I was like, okay, well, the jobs are not coming in. Let me go ahead and grab a bachelor's degree in computer science, and then it could kind of like bump me up a little more. But I was still trying to milk every single free thing that I could find, okay? Like, because school was my last resort. I ended up finding Launch Code, which is the second program that I went through where I did UX, because honestly, the first program helped me realize what I wanted to do in IT in general. It wasn't coding. I'm glad I got the skills, but I was like, okay, no, I'm more of a designer. What can I do that's more like art-based, more kind of advertising-based from my radio background, but that's in IT, found UX. So went into Launch Code, did UX. That was a free program. I was able to get the job coming out of that program where school was not even a thought after that. I was like, oh, perfect. I got the career, bam. And I also said that when I go back to school, I want to be at a company that would reimburse. This is all part of my spiritual work as well. Manifestation is real, you guys. Like, if you do not have a spiritual connection to something, it ain't got to be Jesus, something, you need to find it, because all of this manifestation and hard work is so real. And so anyway, now I'm at a company that will reimburse. And now I'm at a position where I'm going to school in August for the network and for the additional education and just for the paper. I'm not even going because I feel like that's what I should do. I'm going with purpose. The purpose is to just fulfill more of my network in IT and to get the paper. Literally, that's it. I'm not going to, because I feel like I need it for a job. So I would highly recommend you to milk every free thing out there and then go to school. I'm gonna say go to school after you get the good job, so that they can pay for it.
Absolutely. So you're making this seem like it's all so easy. So I do want to ask.
I'm sorry.
No, that's like what we need to hear. Like, it is possible. It's easy. It's not impossible. Just go for it and work for it and get it. So in kind of a rapid fire style, I kind of want to know real quick, like your biggest struggle and your biggest success for each of your ventures. So first, the Scrum Master. What's the biggest struggle, biggest success?
Biggest struggle is definitely just imposter syndrome, feeling like, of course, like, oh my God, can I do this? Because I've never done it before. Getting my feet wet, feeling like I can be a coach, actually just navigating new waters. I think the success is just getting reassurance from my teams that they love me as a Scrum Master and getting the job in general. Like, that was definitely a big success for that particular role.
All right. And then what would you say is the biggest success and then the biggest struggle for the podcast, Missbehavin Forreal?
I say the biggest struggle is to collaborate with my co-hosts and really get like consistent content out there. I feel like we've been consistent for 3 years, but I think that we could have done better with, or we can do better with really just like buckling down on it and like putting out merch and putting out stuff to kind of go with it. So the biggest struggle is, I guess, being focused on it. The biggest success is being able to say I have a podcast and have had a podcast for 3 years and it being really easy to do, recording it and putting it out there.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have a good time.
Yeah, I've never made it complicated. I think a lot of people make podcasting complicated. It's so easy. Just record it and post it.
And then last, what's the biggest struggle and biggest success with your beauty line?
I think my biggest success is that it's a natural talent for me. My mom was a hairstylist or has been a hairstylist for over 25 years. She's been maybe like 30 years now. My stepmom is a makeup artist, so it kind of runs deep. So I said my biggest success is being natural at it. And then my biggest struggle, I would say maybe having a consistent clientele. I think because there's so many people doing hair and makeup now, that you have to stay relevant. Although that's not my main focus, it's more of like a trade for me. I still think that people jumping from stylist to stylist is a struggle. I think people need to stick with one and just call it a day.
All right, so our last question isn't really a question. It's more you getting to plug yourself. So you have 30 seconds to plug yourself. What do you have going on right now, and where can our listeners find you?
Hey, listeners of Project Grownup. I am Forever GeNella, and I am a podcaster. I'm a YouTuber. I'm a ScrumMaster, and all the other things in between. And I'd love for you to follow me everywhere at Forever GeNella. I try my best to give out and positivity to anybody who's looking to get into tech. And yeah, just like navigating the waters, just like you guys, like documenting my millennial hustle. How many seconds was that? I feel like I'm bad.
No, but that was good. That was good. People should tell you that you need 30 seconds to tell them about yourself. Then I think it would come so easily.
Oh my God. Like I'm so bad at that now, like that I'm out of radio. I'm like, what is 30 seconds? Because I used to be really good at like time and stuff. Now I'm just like, I don't care. It is what it is.
It's crazy because, like 30 seconds for like a live shot can seem like the longest thing.
Oh my
but it can
God.
also feel like the quickest thing.
Yeah.
If you're not an expert on the topic, it can feel like a really long time. But because, obviously it's not just 30 seconds. It's like a minute 30. But
this
you get
so
what I mean.
true. Yeah, I just think right now that I'm transitioning my brand to be more education based, whereas at first it was more entertainment. So now everything that you may see on my socials or YouTube will now be more so about like my journey and how you can do it too. And I'm also in the near future, which is one of my goals for the year, is to start offering my services again, like for web design and like brand aesthetics, because that's something that I love to do. And I haven't really opened that up to the world to let them like book me for it. Like my family and friends know, and they ask me for advice all the time. But I'm like, I haven't really put that out there. So my goal is to start a business based on like my web design and brand aesthetics. But outside of that, everything else will definitely be just like free game on YouTube and my podcast. I've also been thinking about making a podcast like strictly for tech. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think that'd be a great idea. Yeah, especially with your personality.
Why not? But I'm like, I don't know. Because I have the podcast, and granted, we talk about everything kind of like how you guys do. But I'm like, I kind of want to make one separate just for like tech, kind of like a backboard of my YouTube, like, but more in depth.
I would say the best, like a good idea would just be start writing down like episode ideas. So make sure you get at least 10 episode ideas, and if you're feeling the flow, then go with it. But if you write down 3 and they're like, I'm bored, then maybe it's not the time. But that's kind of how that was one of the ways we did it. We started writing down ideas, and then we're like, damn, we got a lot of ideas. Let's do this thing. So
yeah, and I think I'm able to do that like with my YouTube, because I do that for YouTube. But for the podcast, I don't know. I feel like it would be more like guest based, and I can get really lazy when it comes to like scheduling events. I'm not an event type person. Like,
it's hard. It's a lot of extra work.
Oh my God. People would be like, you get to start doing events. You're a radio personality. I'm like, I hate event planning. Like, no.
Well, I think we can all agree at our age here, 25, 26, that we should definitely learn more about tech than what we know right now. But dang, if this interview wasn't the kick that we needed to start teaching ourselves a little bit more. So, GeNella, you definitely have us all inspired to keep pushing the side hustle, to know ourselves, know our worth, and most importantly, know the power of knowledge. So, Miss GeNella, I want to thank you so much dearly for being on the show.
Thank you, guys. Peace out.
And before we go, we of course want to leave you with some words to live by. This week, they come from GeNella herself. Manifest what you want out of life.
Join us for new episodes every other week. They will drop Monday so you can start the week off right as we unravel another chapter of Project Grownup. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast and leave us a 5-star review. Danielle says you know you want to. If you or anyone you know would be great for our PG inspiring stories, please send us an email at grownup@gmail.com.
Hopefully you found some keys to success in this episode. Cheers to another week of trying to be a grown-up. Cheers!
Cheers, guys!
Cheers!